Welcome to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Rutherford's live call-in show. We want to thank you for tuning in, and let's start out. Sheriff Rutherford, what do you have for us today?
Thank you, Melissa. First, let me talk to you about a few things that are going on around the city that I think are very important to know about. First, a couple fundraisers for the Justice Coalition. First, the First Coast Crime Stoppers is going to have their charity fun shoot, which is shotgun, clay pigeons, sporting clays they call it, where you go to different stations throughout the woods and shoot at clay birds as they fly. And that is going to be Thursday, April 23rd. Check-ins at 9 a.m. in the morning. This is all out at the best gun club in the world. Just kidding. The Jacksonville Skeet and Trap Club out on the north side. They now have sporting clays as well, and we'll be shooting the sporting clays April 23rd with the First Coast Crime Stoppers. Check-ins at 9 o'clock. A 4-man team is $600, and all of that, all those funds go to the First Coast Crime Stoppers, which helps us to run a real confidential site where folks can file complaints or file information about crimes that they have information on and remain completely anonymous. So it's really a great assistance to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and I look forward to seeing you out there. I'll get my shotgun dusted off and go see everybody out there. Also, in addition to that, the Justice Coalition will have their Shoot for Justice is on May 8th. I'm sorry I don't have any more information on that, but it will be at the same location, same time. Actually, I think their check-in is at 7:30 in the morning, but if you go to the Justice Coalition website, you can get additional information on that shoot. But it will be sporting clays as well. We're not shooting skeet and trap and 5-stand anymore. We're just going to shoot the sporting clays. So it's a lot of fun, 100-round shoot. All the shells are provided. Don't bring shells with you. The shells will be provided, whether you've got 20 gauge, 12 gauge, 410, doesn't matter. We will take care of that for you. So with that, I should also mention that if you want to call in and ask a question live online, you can call in at 630-1832. That's 630-1832. And I've got a couple other announcements before we start taking questions, though. We also have, coming up this Saturday, March 28th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to be having our third and final gun buyback for the year. We have partnered with the Loris Barr Weaver Fund at the Community Foundation for Northeast Florida. And when you bring a functioning gun in, has to be a functioning gun, by the way, when you bring that in, turn it in, you will be paid $50, and the Loris Barr Weaver Fund will pay an additional $50 to the Police Athletic League. So it's a great fundraiser for the Police Athletic League, which is not police officers playing sports, by the way. PAL, as we call it, is a nonprofit organization that works with a lot of at-risk kids in some of our most challenged neighborhoods. And I would encourage you to support the Police Athletic League, helping these young children. They have a tremendous after-school program, a tremendous mentoring and tutoring program. And in fact, I can tell you that all of the kids at PAL promote to the next, 94% promote to the next grade on time. And of course, everybody knows that there's a direct inverse correlation between education and crime. The higher the education of the individual, the less they're involved in crime. And so we're trying to reach out to these kids at a very early age. I think it's from 5 to 18. And we have a lot of really good programs that we offer our kids. In addition to the gun buyback, which is raising funds for PAL, we also have the Sheriff's Roundup, which is also going to be March 28th in the evening. As I mentioned, the gun buyback is 10 to 2. I should also tell you it's over at Evangel Temple Church on Ramona Boulevard, just east of Lane Avenue. You can't miss it. We really appreciate Pastor Gary Wiggins working with us for our gun buyback program, allowing us to use their property. So, look, if you have guns that you need to get rid of, a husband dies or an uncle dies, and your aunt or whoever doesn't want those guns in their house because they're afraid of them, they don't know how to handle them, then this is a great way for folks to give guns away, get them out of their homes, out of their cars, particularly if they don't want them and they're not going to keep them properly. Then this is a good way to dispose of those guns. And I know a lot of people question, well, gosh, do the bad guys go out and steal guns and then sell them for $50? No, that's not been our experience, because we do check all of them to see if they're stolen. And we do have some guns that are turned in stolen, but most of them have been stolen 12, 15 years ago. So it's not creating a theft problem in the community, as I've heard some people suggest. And believe me, the bad guys are not laundering guns through the gun buyback either. It would be much easier for a criminal to go to the river and throw it in the river than it would be to bring it to us, the police, which they don't like interacting with us anyway. So I would encourage you, if you have guns that you want to legally get out of your possession, this is a great way for widows and others who may not want a gun in their house any longer to get rid of that. And so that will be Saturday, March 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Evangel Temple Assembly of God, which is at 5755 Ramona Boulevard. You get $50 and Pal gets $50 to help these at-risk kids. And we particularly want to thank Dolores Weaver, Barr Weaver, for her assistance in this and making these funds available. So thank you, Dolores and Wayne. Now, I mentioned there's another fundraiser for the Police Athletic League. That is Saturday evening, and that will be at 6:30. It's $125 per ticket. It's at the Deerwood Country Club. We'll have cocktails, good food, gaming tables. We have a little casino thing set up to play, gamble, and a silent auction, dancing. No speeches. We love that. No speeches. And thankfully, also, we're just going to come together to have a party and raise some money for PAL, and we're not going to roast anybody. I love it. So just come and have a good time, free cigars, and it's called the Sheriff's Roundup, and that means, obviously, we want you to wear your best Western attire. Everybody will get dressed up. It's a night of boots and bling, honoring yours truly, Sheriff John Rutherford. I appreciate that from PAL. But wear your best Western attire and come join us, and we'll have a good time out there. Okay, I also want to mention quickly one other group. I just left the meeting earlier today, and Emergency Pregnancy Services, which does a lot more than emergency pregnancy services now. They also have a growing parenting skills program where they help young single women with parenting. And so they have now changed their name, and it is now Growing Parenting Choices. And of course, they're located over on King Street, or Kings Road. I'm sorry, King Street. And that's a great group. They help single women who are pregnant and think that they may not want their child, and there's a lot of options and choices that they have. And I think that's important to help fight the abortion issue, because I think that's part of the culture of death that you've heard me talk so often about. And I think whether we kill a baby at first domain or we kill it in the womb, it's still a killing, and something that we should not be doing. So with that, let me say also, do we have any questions? I'll come back to these others.
Oh yeah, we have something on Twitter. Vicky ID 273 is her username. She says, Sheriff, what will you be doing after leaving office? Too much knowledge and talent to waste. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, well, thank you, Vicki. I do appreciate that. Well, first, I'm going to spend a few months just enjoying some time with my wife and family, particularly my grandchildren. It is, it's been a long time, 40 plus years in law enforcement, and so I'm looking forward to spending some time with my family. However, I am looking at a race potentially in November of 16. I am thinking about running for the state legislature. I live in District 12, which is Lake Ray's House seat, state House seat, and he will be term limited. Lake Ray has done a fantastic job for Duval County in Northeast Florida, and I'd like to continue where he will let up after when he is term limited. So that's one thing that I have in mind, but mainly spending a lot of time with my grandkids. I am really looking forward to that. They grow up so doggone fast, you know. Yeah. So let me mention also, speaking of children, we have our law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics that is coming up this Tuesday, March 31st at 10 a.m. And these Special Olympians are folks who have some challenges in life, some developmental challenges in life. And we're very proud here at JSO. We have a large consortium of officers and agencies that come together just to raise funds to help these children. So the Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics this Tuesday, March 31st, 10 a.m., and we'll kick it off right out here in front of the Police Memorial Building. Now, finally, speaking of the Police Memorial Building, Police Memorial Day, where we will honor and remember the 60 law enforcement officers of Duval County and the city of Jacksonville that have given their lives the full measure of sacrifice for this community. And that will be Wednesday, May 6th. And of course, we'll have a chapel service inside first, and then we will move outside for a Memorial Day service to honor those 60 men and women that we never want to forget them or their sacrifice for this community. So it's open to the public. Please come down and enjoy honoring those officers with us. We have anything else over there, Melissa?
I do. Mr. John M. Mellis posted on Facebook, will you be discussing new training for trigger-happy cops?
Oh, well, we would if we had any trigger-happy cops. But I think I know you're talking about police-involved shootings, obviously. But let me tell you, our officers get some of the best training in the country. And I don't think they're trigger-happy. They're held accountable. When they do, in fact, make a mistake in a shooting incident, they're held to the highest standards. Many of them involved in police shootings that have been found, well, all of them that are found to have violated state law or our policies and procedures, which are even more strict than state laws. I've held them accountable. I've fired them, and we've had, probably, gosh, I'm not going to guess at a number, but all of those that were found to be in violation of either our policy, their training, or the law have been terminated. And so I'm very proud of the men and women of this agency and the way that they control themselves and use good decision making throughout their law enforcement service, but particularly when using deadly force. Now, doesn't mean that there aren't officers that step outside the bounds of our training and our policy, but when they do, they're held accountable. And I think that's what the public wants. I think they understand that, look, I don't care what profession it is, people are going to make mistakes, whether they're mistakes of the head or the heart. I can tell you, I think the only ones that we've had were always mistakes of the head, not the heart. And, they have a split-second decision. And it's very tough in the moment to sometimes decide whether to shoot or not. And I think our officers have done a very good job at firearms control particularly. So thank you for that, John.
Do you want
And let me say this. If you have any individual case, John, that you want to talk about and you want to know the evidence and the facts of that case, call me at 630-5898 and I'll be glad to discuss any individual case that you want to talk about where you think I've not held my officers accountable. Call me and let me know and I'll give you the facts. So thank you.
Safer
Well.
Transaction we started this past week where people can go to a substation to conduct
Oh, yes.
lawful transactions.
Yes, I'm glad. Somebody asked about that?
No.
Wow,
I just
good.
thought it would be good to talk about.
Good. Oh, it's good for us to talk
Yeah,
about.
let people
Yes,
know.
yes. Hey, listen, Safer Transactions is about, if you've seen any of the incidents around the country where people buying off of Craigslist or off the internet, period, where they meet a stranger for this transaction, that's a dangerous situation, folks. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what's going to happen when you get there. I would suggest that you take advantage of our Operation Safer Transaction by completing that transaction at a police substation or here at the Police Memorial Building. You can either do it in the parking lot where our cameras are capturing everything that happens, or you can also come inside the lobby of our police substations to make that transaction. And so I would encourage you, use this service that's now available to you. Come to our substations for these transactions and be safe. Then you won't have to worry about whether you're going to be robbed or kidnapped or shot or who knows what. So, and now I do have to tell you, because you're going to have to come whenever we're there. That's 8 to 5. The substations are not 24/7. They are 8 to 5. Although the Police Memorial Building is 24/7. So if you want to come to the Police Memorial Building, come to our Forsyth Street entrance because it is open 24/7, and you can conduct that transaction right in the lobby of the Police Memorial Building. I would encourage anyone, particularly women, to take advantage of this service. So we want you to stay safe when making these transactions off of the internet, where you're going to be dealing with somebody and you have no idea who that person may be. All right? Good.
Jamie Joseph says, can you please clarify what is considered a nuisance noise in a residential area? Someone is turning their bass up at 7:15 a.m. to the point where the walls are vibrating and I can't hear my own TV, aside from it waking us up.
Yeah. Jamie, listen, I suggest when you have that situation, call the non-emergency number here at JSO, 630-0500. Call the police out. We will go next door, talk to that person, ask them to turn it down. If it becomes a continuous problem, you call us every time it occurs, and then what we will do, if it becomes a problem for the beat officer, we'll refer that to code enforcement, or you can call code enforcement yourself, and they come out with the handheld machines that are calibrated. And I should tell you that the curfew times on the noise ordinance is, I think, 10 o'clock on weekdays and midnight on weekends. So if it's disturbing you in your home, I can tell you that's going to be a violation. So call 630-0500. Let the police come out and get you some immediate relief. But if it becomes a chronic problem, then we will refer it to code enforcement for you if you don't want to do it yourself, and we'll get that behavior stopped. Nobody should be bothering their neighbors with that kind of bass or even just loud music. So, thank you.
Our Audible traffic app is up with downloads. Do you want to talk about how people can use the app to get traffic information and crime information in the city?
Yes, our traffic app is really great. You can access it before you get ready to leave to go across town or anywhere, and it will actually alert you to any traffic problems that are in the area. The best part about our traffic app is the fact that it's audible. It comes up, you don't have to read it, you can listen to it. And because if you're in your car particularly, we do not want you, trying to read a text. And you could go to Play Store on your phone and look up Audio Traffic /Jacksonville and download that app to your phone. And it really is a great device or program that's going to let you know about traffic issues in our area, particularly when we have major events like Florida, Georgia, and some of the other major events that we have in town, monster truck and those sorts of things that really change a lot of traffic patterns for us. So go to the Play Store and download our program. All right. One other thing that I would like to talk about, I read recently in the paper where the mayor was talking about our budget, and that he had increased my budget by $48 million. That number is actually wrong. They've increased my budget by $59 million since this mayor came into office. However, what they don't tell you in the article that I saw is that just between my pension cost and my workers' comp cost, those two things alone went up $63.7 million. So yes, they did increase my budget $59 million, but they increased my expenses for pension and workers' comp $63.7 million. So I've still had to cut an additional $4.1 million just since this mayor's come into office. So, sometimes it's not only what people tell you, it's what they don't tell you. So everybody has the numbers. We're going to put this up on our website, and you can see. In fact, we'll put the whole budget up there, and you can see exactly where that came from. Because yes, they did increase my budget $59 million, not 48, but my expenses just for those two items, workers' comp and pension cost, went up $63.7 million. So that's those numbers speak for themselves, because I'm going to tell you the impact of these budget cuts in the last three budgets that the mayor has presented has cost me 147 police positions and all 92 community service officer positions. And I want to clarify another issue as well, and that is, what are the real crime numbers in Jacksonville? And look, this is on our website as well, I believe. This is our violent crime numbers in Jacksonville, and you can see, for those of you that are watching, you can see that our crime numbers really bottomed out. Total crime numbers bottomed out in 2012. Our total crime numbers bottomed out in 2012, but our murder numbers bottomed out in 2011. And that's when we had 1,750 police officers, all 92 community service officers. That's before they were cut. Since they were cut, our violent crime numbers, I'm going to read this to you because you can see the spike right here, where violent crime numbers are beginning to go back up. Since we cut 147 police from when crime was going down, it's now going back up. And the numbers specifically are, we had 5,182 violent crimes in 2011, which, by the way, that year we only had 71 murders. Now, I say only. We're not going to celebrate 71 murders. If we have one murder, that's too many. Because these violent crimes are not just about numbers. They're about people's lives, our sons and our daughters and our husbands and our wives. So I get that. But I also understand that the suspects are our sons and daughters and husbands and wives. People aren't coming here from Mars to kill us. These are kids that we're raising right here in this community. And that's why the Police Athletic League is so very important. We try to work with these kids before they wind up in prison. In fact, the moniker for the Police Athletic League is filling playgrounds, not prisons. But getting back to these crime numbers, after we started cutting all of these officers, our violent crime numbers have gone from 5,182 and 71 murders to last year 5,853 and 96 murders. So you can see there's been a significant spike in violent crime and murder in this community since 2011. Now, you can look at different times and you can say crime's down, that sort of thing. In fact, when you throw in the property crime, when you look at property crime, overall crime did go down in Jacksonville from 11 to 14. In fact, it went down 4.1%. And that's a good thing, but all those reductions are actually in property crime, not violent crime, because violent crime, in fact, from 2011 to 14 has gone up 12.95%. So we're going to be posting these numbers online as well, so you can actually see how crime is impacted by the cuts that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has had to endure since 2011. And these 3 budget cycles have hurt us and crime in Jacksonville significantly. So those numbers speak for themselves. Folks, anytime you talk about numbers, sometimes it's not obvious what they mean. So thank you for that. Do we have any other callers?
No, that's all that we have.
Okay, well, again, let me remind folks, we have our gun buyback at Evangel Temple of God on Saturday, March 28th from 10 to 2. We also have that same night our Sheriff's Roundup for PAL, the Police Athletic League. Put on your best Western wear and come out and join us for some fun, good food, drinks. They're going to have a little casino room where you can play gamble, and that will be a good night for everybody. You can call 630-1832 if you'd like to ask a question right now. In addition, let me remind everyone that May 6th is Police Memorial Day here in Jacksonville. The public is welcome to come to our outside ceremony. We have a chapel ceremony for the survivors and some special guests from law enforcement and city government, but then we have the service outside, which is open to anyone that would like to attend. And I should also mention we will be streaming the ceremony outside, so you can go online May 6th and join us there as well. I'll also mention this. Adam Reich is a young man. I think he's 17, 18 years old now. He started a project when he was working on his Eagle Scout Award, and Adam is funding and creating a police memorial wall for the officers that have been killed here in Jacksonville. It's an amazing project that this young Eagle Scout or wannabe Eagle Scout started. And his father's a police officer. I think his grandfather was a police officer, so he's got it in his blood. But what he realized was there is no memorial in Jacksonville to the officers who have given their full measure in service to this agency and this community. So you can go. I think it's. Anybody know where his site is? I tell you what, if you call the FOP Foundation, they're actually collecting the money for that. He's raised, I think, over 130,000 or 150,000 now of the 250,000 that he needs to create this memorial. The memorial has already started with the money that they have raised. The city gave him some property over in front of the Memorial Arena over on A. Philip Randolph Boulevard. And you'll see a little construction going on just as you approach the arena, and that will be the soon-to-be completed police memorial wall for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And we really appreciate Adam, and what a fine young man to come up with a tough project like that for his Eagle Award. So we thank him for that. Also, I need to remind you, we're going to have a Patrol East Shadco Safety Fair. That'll be April 18th, and that's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Regency Square Mall. Those are always great events. We have some places where we teach kids to ride bicycles properly and give away helmets and a lot of information on how they can ride safely their bicycles. So come over and see us for that as well. That's April 18th at the Regency Square Mall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And all of these announcements, by the way, are on our jacksheriff.org website. So please go there and look at that. And let me talk about one other issue that I think is important to the community and is being talked a lot about around the country, and that is body cameras. There's this perception that, wow, if we just had body cameras, we would know everything that happened at a scene. Well, there are several limitations to body cameras, and so I would encourage you to go to the Force Science Institute's website. They have enumerated 10 different problems that they see with body cameras and officers wearing body cameras. But I will give you number 11, which is the most important reason to me, and why I oppose body cameras, is the fact that police officers, when they go into someone's house or they are questioning witnesses, the last thing, look, it's tough enough to get people off the street to talk with us. If they know that they're going to be videoed, and then that video all becomes public record and can be requested, put up on YouTube later, we can't protect them from that. And I wish we could, but we can't. And so all of that information and their likeness and all of that will be out there for the world to see. And so that's going to put a chilling effect on folks wanting to talk to us. Now, another major reason is privacy rights for the citizens of Jacksonville and any city where these cameras are being worn by police officers. Look, we're called into some of the most embarrassing situations that people can imagine. We come to your house when your son or daughter has gotten drunk and there's a big family disturbance and we get called. We walk into your home with a camera going and record everything that's there, everything that's said. It may be the one most terrific problem time in your family's life. And when we drive off, your neighbor calls and says, I want a copy, I'm making a public records request for the copy of the sheriff's officer's body camera when he was handling that call. Then it's public record. They get that, and then they put it up on YouTube, and you suffer a tremendous embarrassment. Look, these are private situations that we go into many times, and that information needs to be kept private and confidential. Nobody needs to know that you're having a problem in your home, what it's about. They see us there, that's bad enough. But to actually have what goes on inside your home placed on YouTube, I disagree with this. I just do not think it, particularly in light of the fact that the Force Science Institute will tell you that even in those criminal instances, it's not going to give you the best. So we're creating a problem for the public that we really don't need to create. And look, this agency is very transparent with these situations, particularly involving officers' use of force. We have a response to resistance board, which after it's over, now it used to be open to the public and to the media as it was being conducted. The Fraternal Order of Police sued me in court to close that to the public and the media, and I was forced to close that. We lost in our appeal, and so those are now closed. However, once the case is over, I make those records available to anyone. And I'm very proud of the fact that we're transparent at JSO, and we we make that available to the public. It should be. It's an issue of public trust. Now, let me make this distinction as well for how officer shootings and other uses of force are investigated. Because some people say, well, Sheriff, you just investigate your own officers and that's it. There's nothing else for anybody to do. Well, that's absolutely false. Look, this incident is also investigated by the State Attorney's Office. They conduct their own independent investigation. My Internal Affairs unit will conduct an investigation of that of that incident as well. And then on top of that, if people are not satisfied with the RTR board, with whatever decision I make, then they can also appeal that to the courts. They still have access to the civil courts where we're going to go in and we're going to have to prove evidentiarily that we acted properly. But it should be done through the courts. And then if they don't like that, they can go to the Department of Justice and file a civil rights complaint against the sheriff's office and the officer. And so there are a lot of review processes that are available to the public to ensure that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office employees, when they deploy lethal force particularly, are within policy, well, they don't look at policy, they look at the law. They look to make sure that the officers follow the law in that use of force. And so there's a lot of review of this. It's not just the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office looking at themselves. And so I think that's often been misrepresented. And I think it's important for you, the public, that officers should go through these reviews. But these reviews, if you think about it, every one of the reviews that I just talked about, these are all legal-based, law-based, evidentiary processes that officers have to go through. It is not a group of community citizens sitting down and politicizing the situation. And that's what I am adamantly opposed to. Officers should not be subjected to political decisions. If you have a citizens review board, for example, that may have an agenda of their own, you're going to put an officer's well-being, the well-being of his family. Look, we don't run this country based on the decision of the crowd. Thank God. We go by the law. And that's why this legal process is there. And I support those legal processes, but I do not support throwing an officer before a board of people who may have agendas that don't care about the law, may not even know what the law is, usually don't know what the law is. And so I'm adamantly opposed to that process as well, because it will have a chilling effect on an officer's willingness to get out there and protect you by putting himself in danger. Because if an officer knows that he's going to have to go before a politicized process as opposed to an evidentiary-based process, when that robbery goes down, look, I'm going to take my time getting there maybe, because you know what? I don't want to go to this board because I get there and I have to engage an armed suspect and shoot him, and now I'm going to have a bunch of angry citizens trying to decide the future of me and my family. So guess what? They may get there a little slower, so they don't have that confrontation. And I do not want that kind of chilling effect to be placed on officers. They need to know that, look, yes, review everything I do, but do it within the law. So it should be a legal process, not a political process. Okay. Now, we don't have any calls or tweets or Facebook posts, so we can thank you now, and we will go ahead and wrap up, and
yes,
we'll see you next month for
the live call-in show.
For the live call-in show. Thank you.
Have a great day.
All righty. Have a great night. Thank you. God bless and be safe.